The rain fell harder than expected. Frogs hopped scaredly. The long, thick grass were being swayed by the direction of the mighty wind, accompanied by the overflow. It was muddy all over. A black SUV suddenly came to stop on the long, lonely road of Akpan. Let's leave him here, they said. Two men disguised in haunted black clothes quickly dropped off a heavy object in the bush. The rain fell harder on the object. Look, there seemed to be a finger. What is that? Dodo, let's go and pick the firewood. Buchi spoke to her only friend, who actually was a dog, in the town of Akpan, where Buchi was given birth to. The people weren't welcoming at all. They frowned upon visitors or strangers. No, look at us. Are we poor? Three women from the council loudly shouted when oil field and agricultural investors wanted to set up a branch in Akpan. Oh, you want to kill us all, he shouted. They were chased out like thieves by both men and women. Ever since then, noise of visitors grew dim. Died when she was just 3 years old, so she was raised by her auntie, Mama Ichoma. Their demise was a shock to her aunt, as she was the only surviving guardian. Though she was raised in a village where the people were bitter, gossips, angry and vengeful, she was a sweet, calm, respectful and well-poised young lady. Many of the villagers hated her as she was quite welcoming, and so even in public places, they would laugh, mock and gossip about her as she passed. Dodo will back and frown at them as they dress her with demeaning words. See her torn skirt and old blouse, messy hair, and they laugh about it. Like you are better than us. Silly girl. She would lay down her head in sorrow as she passed by with Dodo. The worst was about to happen. That early morning, after the heavy rains, Mama Ichoma woke up early as she normally does. She had a cooking spot in the village. Best rice and stew and banga was said to have been cooked by her in the entire village. Oh yes, she was talented in the art of cooking. Uchi! A loud scream was heard as she reached under the crooked mango tree in front of their red earth house. Uchi immediately woke up from her sleep, as well as Dodo. Oya, hurry and go and get the firewood Papa Chichi left for me on his farm, Mama Ijoma said loudly, and come to the shop. Even the birds flew away at her scream. Dodo silently laid his head down flat with his pitiful eyes open. Uchi was wide awake and ready to start. Before leaving her humble house, she will kneel by a hard bed, a wooden bed frame with a wide hard surface. On laid a piece of mat. Lord, make today exceptional and guide me in the day's work. Amen. Dodo, let's go. Dodo the dog will back and turn around with joy and excitement as Buchi will look at herself in an old cracked mirror beside her. These clothes are worn out, she will silently whisper, but still keep a smile on her face. Buchi and Dodo took the lonely route of Akpan. It had rained the day before. The dog suddenly began pointing his nose around as if it had perceived foreign scent. It began moving through the bushes and tall grass while moving through huge slump of mud on the path. Dodo, what is it? Uchi yelled out with a frightening but worried face. The dog had stopped by the object. It began to bark intermittently, as if calling the attention of its owner Buchi. Buchi drew near, and behold, it was a person, a man. Buchi panted and gasped for air. She began sweating profusely. Her chest was suddenly tight. She couldn't breathe. She was utterly confused and also concerned. The dog tore the sack from the point of a little tail with its sharp teeth. and a serious grin on its face. She looked to the left and to the right, helped to check if he was still breathing. Buchi was sweating profusely because she knew the consequences of surrounding welcoming visitors. Hello, hello, can you hear me? Buchi yelled. Help me, please. The man spoke silently. There were bruises on his face and other parts of his body. It was getting late. She was worried. Dodo was impatient, also as if it could sense danger. The air stood still, but she held onto the man and assisted him to stand. Quite poorly, but it was enough to stealthily take him to their home. Mama Ichoma, on the other hand, stood with a hard frown on her face. She was worried also. Why Buchi hadn't come in with the firewood? She needed to have started cooking by now, as her customers would start trooping in any moment from now. Buchi will kill me, oh, she cried. On the left, she saw Buchi approach with the firewood on her head and Dodo on the side. Auntie, please, the firewood was quite heavy. That's why I've delayed. Please forgive. She had a worried and confused look on her face. Uchi, don't do this again. Always be on time. In the city of Abuja, news of the death of the oil-filled guru chief Olutobi had broke out. The news spread like wildfire in and out of Nigeria, blog and newspaper posts all over. Unbeknown to the public, his death was under investigation. 2 weeks to his death, Chief had met with his trusted confidant, his lawyer, on his will. The meeting was held in his estate. The bell suddenly rang. Ada, check who that is. Chief Olutobi's cousin, Cynthia, shouted. She was a woman who seemed to be at fault with everyone. She disliked the mere thought of humans. She would try anything in her power if she could get rid of all humans. Cynthia was dark, obese, and grumpy woman, never married, and had a dark secret. At that, the housemaid welcomed the man in. It was Chief's lawyer. Let him in, Chief instructed. Mr. Iko went into the tall, dark hallway which had the Chief's office. The meeting took about an hour and a half. Mr. Iko said on his way out, Chief, let Richie come back. You are growing old. Rest and let him take on the business. Chief nodded his head. He seemed to have agreed. In the corner of the hall, Cynthia hid like a rat who feared to be killed by its master, and she heard the conversation. She ran hurriedly to her room. I, Cynthia, will not let anyone in on these assets, whether it is mine or not. In fact, it is mine. I deserve it. I am pretty and I can do whatever I want. The next morning, the weather was rather gloomy. Tension set in the Olutobi mansion. It was beautiful and huge, but had few people in it. There was loneliness and absence of peace, not with Cynthia in it. You know that is utterly impossible. Richard, take the quickest flight and come home tomorrow. I want to see you. Chief Olutobi spoke, happily on the phone with Richard. Richard was a handsome and tall man. Chief was his grandfather. At a young age of 2 years, his mother died mysteriously while in labor. Only Richard survived. The young man was dedicated and very hardworking. He had finished his studies abroad. He took the industrious side of his mother. He didn't grow up with maternal love. I mean, Cynthia couldn't have given him that. And so, till he left for abroad, at 15, Richard was a separating, moody, and picky young man. "I am home." Richard came to the gate. Ada had met him to help with his luggage. "Who is this?" he yelled after Ada touched his handbag. He dusted his shoulders as if Ada were a cockroach dipped in muddy pool of water and mashed in all the dirt of this world. Ada was saddened by this gesture. Out of nowhere, Cynthia came in dressed as if there was a grand occasion or a ball. I mean, she needed to shine and be seen. Who wouldn't see her as big as she were? She opened her arms and hugged Richard with a fake grin and half smile on her face. Richard smiled back. A voice was heard down the lonely hallway. Letting in Cynthia, Cynthia immediately folded her arm as if angered by Chief. "He has ruined my plans," she whispered silently in her breath, away from Richard. Richard went down the hallway. He was politely escorted to their grandfather's office by Ada. Poor girl. "Richard, you are welcome home. How was the journey?" Chief warmly asked. Richard was calm in answering. He was happy and couldn't wait to start work. Chief took the opportunity to inform him of the handing over dinner that was to happen soon. "I, Chief Olutobi, will hand over the oil business to you. I have worked well all these years. It's time to rest." He stood up to shake his hand. They laughed loudly. They each caught up with each other. Cynthia stood behind the doors and listened in on the conversation. She was immediately enraged and furious. She walked angrily to her room. That whole night, she tossed and tossed and tossed while plotting evil. "Chief, why do you choose not to involve me in this business? Am I daft? I no say on the normally I sharp well. Or," she asked herself, "you want to give my properties to this child who has done nothing for this house or family?"
Please like for page 2.